Could be the wind, right? It could prevent it.
We got out of there and before the rain, and we should have seen it.
Excuse me for a second.
No downside to it.
Okay, Willie, you ready? Come on.
Yep.
Glenn, John, you good? Where's my pen? I didn't take it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to stand for the pledge of the open meeting, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Have a little roll call, please.
Craig Wagner. Warren Shaw.
Bob Vicaretti, we got a full board tonight. All right, first one we have on the agenda tonight is the Chang, number 2 Avenue B, 2-lot subdivision, public hearing.
Okay,
Well, we can make a motion to open the public hearing and
Yeah.
have you speak to it, just so it's on record.
okay.
Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on that application?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and let me, Amanda, you got notice?
Yes.
Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the Town of Deerpark Planning Board, Orange County, New York, pursuant to Article 7 of the Town of Deerpark zoning law on an application for a site plan review. The application affects the following premises: record owners, Hugh Listing Chang, applicant, Hugh Listing James, tax map designation, section 28, block 1, lot 86, zone designation rural residential. Description of application is a 2-lot subdivision located at 2 Avenue B, Godfrey, New York, 12729. Information on this application can be viewed at the town clerk's office, Town of Deerpark, 420 Route 209, Huguenot, New York. The hearing shall take place at 7 o'clock p.m. on the 28th day of February 2024 at the Town of Deerpark Town Hall located at 420 Route 209, Town of Deerpark, Orange County, New York, or soon thereafter as possible. All parties wishing to be heard shall be heard at that time.
Thank you, Amanda. The mailing receipts match up with the properties within 500 feet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mrs. Fuller, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm just gonna plop this right here because my easel, I don't think is working tonight. So I could stand over here. Okay, that one. All right, so yeah, we're here to represent the applicant for a 2-lot subdivision over on the property that is located on the corner of Avenue B and 5th Street Extension. It also wraps around to 3rd Street. The property is a total of 2.94 acres, just under 3 acres, and they would like to break off a property that is 1 acre in lot area. The property will be developed with a single-family dwelling, which will have its own well and septic system. The well and septic will meet all required separation distances. And the driveway will be off of 3rd Street. It is a typical residential subdivision, 2 lots. The property is located in the rural residential district, which has a minimum lot area of 1 acre, and all other zoning requirements are met.
Okay. Thank you. John, you have any questions?
No, other than they've addressed our previous comments. We had the joint site inspection and some other comments pertaining to flood elevations and so forth, so that's all been addressed. The plans just have to be signed and stamped by the licensed surveyor and the engineer, so I guess when they submit for stamped copies to be filed in the county, obviously they're gonna have to have that.
Glenn, any input?
Not really.
Any comments from the board? Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I-
well, yeah, at this time, we'd like to open the floor to public comment. We don't have a sign-in sheet. Do we have one? Oh, we do have a sign-in sheet. Is anybody on it?
No.
Is there anybody out? Tonight, you want to speak on the application? No? If that's the case, then I guess we could make a motion to close the public hearing portion of the application.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Good?
Okay?
All right, sounds good. No questions, so no answers. We do have comments from February 25th. John?
Yeah, they're just noting that their previous comments have been addressed and the plans have to be signed and stamped, so nothing on our end that would prevent you from taking action on final approval. You do have to close out seeker before you do that.
Just need a motion to declare a negative deck on the application.
Make that motion.
Oh, wait.
Oh, what?
Hold
First
on.
you have to do lead agency.
Yes.
Oh, I thought we did.
Unlisted action, and then you do it.
I thought, did we declare lead agency on this project before?
No, we
I
didn't.
don't
No?
think so, we've only been here once before.
Oh, okay.
When you scheduled the public hearing,
All right,
so.
all right, then we need to we need a motion to declare ourselves lead agency on the project.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And then we need to, I'm sorry, go again with the secret? Declare it
Unlisted action.
unlisted, yeah. Need a motion to declare the project as unlisted action and secret.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. All right, now with that, a couple of things out of the way, I believe we can actually make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
On the comments that,
Yeah, public hearing again.
Yes.
no,
Yes, you did.
what's that?
We closed the public hearing twice.
I'm sorry.
You didn't do a negative declaration yet.
Right.
No, they did the negative declaration.
We did the negative
Yeah,
stuff.
they did unlisted, they did lead agency,
And
then they did unlisted action.
Then I thought they did.
They haven't done negative
Okay.
declaration.
All right, we just need a motion to declare a negative declaration. Secret.
Wrap them all up at once.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, now we got it.
Now you can.
Now we got it. Now we got it. John, what, or Glenn, what's the, on the, Mr. Fusco's note, it does have a comment for conditional approval. What would the condition be for the approval?
Probably just compliance with the engineer comments in terms of signatures on the maps and stuff like that.
Payment of all fees.
All right, well, just need to make a motion that, under conditional approval that, they answer all the engineers' questions and that all fees are paid.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Second one on your agenda is 1074 Route 209 at Battery Storage pre-application.
Do you have paper copies for the board members if they'd like to have them?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Good evening, how are you?
Good. Just state your name for the record, please.
My name is Andrew Cleary, Bedrock Energy. Here with my attorney, Mark Sweeney. My counsel on this matter.
go ahead, you got the floor.
So what we'll do is we'll introduce our company, then we'll introduce the project, we'll answer any questions about kind of what this asset is, how it operates. This is a new asset for a lot of towns in this area. You, as a board, have had some experience with it, with the Galley Hill Road project. This is not dissimilar, although there are some key differences. So please stop and jump in and ask me any questions or any comments along the way. Thank you. So the first page here, Deerpark Energy, we're based in Albany, New York. We develop small-scale distributed solar and energy storage projects. When we say distributed, we say small scale, we say like 5 megawatts and below. For solar, that tends to be about 30 acres of property. For this scale of energy storage, it tends to be about 10,000 square feet, or at most kind of a quarter or a third of an acre. We are in part developing these because of New York's mandates for the CLCPA to encourage clean energy in towns across New York State, as well as improve the grid, which energy storage does, and kind of add renewable megawatts to the grid, as well as stabilize the grid, which is in more flux because we have these intermittent resources coming on. So battery storage, energy storage will support that as more renewables go on the grid. Also, as kind of more electrification happens around towns and residences and businesses in our towns. Our company, we have about 5 people working at the company. My background, I'm the founder and CEO. My background is about 19 years in the power utilities business, finance and greenfield development at companies that are listed here. Some time spent in the finance space down on Wall Street, and then now I've been kind of boots on the ground for about 4 or 5 years doing development in the greenfield space, really trying to kind of build those assets that really support our grid and support the energy transition. Now we'll move on to the site. The address is, and there's multiple tax parcels at this kind of region at this address. The actual tax parcel that we'll be talking about is closer to property to Route 211, not 209. We just have 1074 US Route 209 because that's where it's the landowner's property, although there are multiple tax parcels associated with it. What we are looking to do, and on page 4 here, is we're looking to develop an energy storage asset, 1 or 2, in this area that you see here right off 211. If you were to go directly south from Jeb Road here, you would be following distribution power lines to the Cuddybackville substation. That, in part, as well as the character of the parcel that we're looking at, makes this site attractive to develop this type of asset at this location. What this asset does is it charges from the grid at, call it, it discharges from the grid to the grid, from the hours of say 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock, with that primarily weighted towards more of the evening hours. It charges either in the middle of the night, 2, 3 a.m. when power prices are cheap and there's not a lot of consumption and distribution lines aren't being used to the extent they could be, or in the morning when we do see a lot of solar coming on the grid, but everyone's already at work, they've had their breakfast, they've kind of demand has come down a little bit. We call that the off-peak period. So what these energy assets do, what these storage assets do, is they shift power from the off-peak periods to the peak periods when everybody's at home, eating dinner, turning the lights, watching TV, in summer turning air conditioning. And so it really allows you kind of to shift power from the morning to the evening when it's being used more. At a fundamental level, this does provide cost savings to the residents and businesses in the towns where these are located, because power prices are driven by the peak power price at a particular time, say 7 o'clock when everyone's watching TV, everyone's cooking dinner with their electric stoves or whatever they have, the air conditioners on. And so that drives power prices for residences, residential homes and commercial businesses in any particular town. So they should lower that cost overall as we put more of these on the grid that shift that power into the peak periods. Moving on to page 5. We have an option A and an option B here. Option A is our first choice, the landowner's first choice. Option B is the second choice, which is a little farther into the property. At the same time, we are evaluating the placement of two of these assets, which will in part depend on whether or not Orange and Rockland lines, distribution lines that go to this property can handle the two assets here. It would be our preference for two, just get some time to scale there. But we are certainly evaluating that, waiting for Orange and Rockland to come back and say, yes, you can do that, or no, possibly exorbitant to have two instead of just one. As you can see, I'll explain this site a little bit here. I know it's a little blurry, I apologize for that. What you're looking at here, and I'll take the option A on the left. What we're looking at here in the green, and we have some more slides on this a little later. You're looking at, 6 40-foot trailers, just like you see on an 18-wheeler going down the street. Those are filled with lithium-ion batteries, and what they do is they transfer power to that red line that you see right there. That goes underground to the street and then pops up on the utility poles, where that power is then either charged from the grid at off-peak periods or discharged to the grid at peak periods. If we follow the red line to the right of Jet Road in the first property, all the way around the back, and then you'll shift to the second on the picture on the right. That will be an underground line that again will go to the exact same type of footprint facility. That will be a different tax parcel that's located on. Very similar thing. These are unmanned facilities. They're gated, and we do our best to satisfy any sort of use concerns, modify fencing, etc. The current property is a scrapyard at the moment. We're looking to help convert some of that property into income-producing parcels or additional income-producing parcels for the property owner, as well as support the grid of the town, as mentioned. Any questions?
Who owns the property?
Brad and Ron Geiger. Today.
Now, is this a separate parcel?
They are two separate parcels that you're looking at, yes.
It's not connected to Word Recycle?
It is not. Page 6, this is a page that the board knows better than I, but what we really want to do, we want to be sensitive to the abutting landowners. In this case, we do believe this property is well suited for this type of this type of development. There's disused cars, there's scrap metal in the second parcel. We will be cleaning that up, helping to clean that up, and putting in a modern looking facility that consists again of 6 40-foot trailers that we'll look at in a little bit. On the last page, we have a picture of what they look like. We do want to address the safety of these assets. If folks have been reading the paper, which I'm sure they do, there have been some incidents with fires, fire safety with these assets. Lithium is an interesting type of asset because you can't pour water on it and it goes out. It just kind of burns. It burns very hot. And so there's been 3 incidents, one on Long Island, one in Westmore, which is close to here, one in a town called Chaumont, C-H-A-U-M-O-N-T, up in upstate New York. What we want to be a little clear of is that these assets do, those headlines do kind of obscure the fact that there is a ton of energy storage operating in New York State. There's a ton operating in Orange and Rockland territory, which we all live in. And so there's about 2 gigawatts in each one of these kind of triangles is an energy storage asset similar to the one that we would be developing around New York State. And then we've just included kind of a screen grab here of where they are in Orange and Rockland. You can go drive by one if you like, the Ledenburg substation in Pomona. And there's one that was developed by a company called Key Capture. That is the exact same technology, exact same units that were frankly the subject of an incident in Westport. So we'll kind of continue talking about this because this frankly is top of mind for us and I'm sure top of mind for you. After the incidents that occurred in 2023, there was 3 of them. There was a general climate of a lot of worry and a lot of disinformation that was going on because what hadn't happened is the fire departments hadn't been properly prepared, and the emergency response staff that was in the area didn't know what to do. And that's particularly true with the one upstate, where there was no training provided to the fire department. And so it kind of caught on fire and it burned for a little while without, the volunteer fire departments, which is fairly common, didn't know what to do, right? What you do is you just let it burn. And that happened, and studies that this fire safety group has done have looked at air quality around the area and come to the conclusion that there was no issues. Lithium is an organic substance. It smells bad when one of these things has a incident or a fire happens. That's because there's plastic, there's wire inside these things. It's no different than if you had a campfire and someone were to throw a tire or something, which you ever do, but it happens, or some sort of other like plastic substance in that fire. That's the equivalent of what's happening. It's larger, obviously, but that's the equivalent of what's happening. That said, the state is very, very much behind this asset class. And as soon as that happened, jumped in with a working group that has now come out with a series of recommendations to code, to fire safety response, that supports the development of future assets here. So I won't kind of go through all of these items, but it's very much, kind of an independent review before the asset ever gets turned on by a qualified expert. And then it's very much a list and specified structure of response if anything were to happen, including somebody that can respond on the phone within seconds, and then somebody that can be on the ground that's qualified to be on the ground within 15 minutes. That's what will be the updates to the code that will come over the next 3 months. That's the recommendations. They're universally supported. They will be adopted by the state. The last thing we'll look at is what this looks like. We designed with a Tesla Megapack 2XL. The reason we do that is it's one of two technologies that's approved for development in New York City. You could build this asset in the middle of Manhattan if you wanted. It's approved by the FDNY. No one will do that because you'd rather have a skyscraper that is already there. But what these look like, they look like 40-foot equivalent units. You're looking at the side view here that is really just the same technology that's in your cell phone, right here. Like lithium-ion batteries, we carry them around every day. We drive around them every day. Teslas, that's the exact same thing. Tesla has a reputation for making some of the best batteries in the world. That's why we designed it. That concludes the presentation that we have. We are here on a pre-application basis. We get any questions and feedback on this proposed development.
Where are these, what are they gonna be placed on? You have 6 40-foot containers?
That's right. Yeah.
And what are they gonna be sitting on?
Concrete pads surrounded by gravel.
And then you said it's gated, it's gonna be fenced?
100%.
Okay. No security cameras or lighting or nothing?
There will be. We'll look to mitigate lighting based on your feedback, but it certainly it's a security. We do not want anybody in that facility.
And if one of these caught on fire, you're saying you just let it burn because the fire departments don't have to put them out yet?
So the lift farm, they also have fire suppression systems, and the other, if one of the units does catch on fire, that is the recommended procedure right now. The other thing that's recommended by the working group, the fire safety working group, is to provide more spacing between them, so you don't have any jump between one unit to the other, the other.
What is the spacing right now?
It's about 8 feet. We expect it to be more.
Hi, I'm Mark Sweeney, and one of the things I just wanted to add is that part of the review process and part of the recommendations from the state is to make sure that the fire departments have training before these projects go live. It's not unusual for large assets like this, electrical assets, to be allowed to burn out and protect the area around it. So one of the things that the site plan will show is that there's sufficient area. You have the concrete pad with the equipment on it, the gravel area around it, sufficient area to allow emergency response to protect the area around from any spread of the fire. It's a very important thing, and usually what's submitted is called an emergency response plan. It's submitted to you, reviewed with the fire department, and a training schedule set up. So all of those are lessons learned that can be applied to these types of projects moving forward. And frankly, the research has shown that some of the basic issues that have occurred have really been more of a manufacturing type problem as opposed to a design problem. For example, water infiltration. If they're not properly sealed, and there's certain types of water events, rain events, storms, wind, that's what's caused some of these problems. Not in every single instance, but I know for certain in a couple down, the one down in Warwick, there was testimony before the board on that topic. So there's a lot of information there, but the plan, the general point for your purposes, for the planning board's purposes, is there'll be sufficient space, compliance with code, and an emergency response plan that's reviewed and approved by the fire department.
You're stating the stuff that is in here is organic, so if it does burn, you get into the air quality, it's not gonna harm anything.
That's what the studies have shown. That was a focus of these, the past fires. So the West Warwick facility happened at a bus facility, a school bus facility. And so that obviously, made some headlines and kind of brought the subject of, if you do let it burn, there's schools around there and there's people around there. And so, one thing to let it burn, the other thing to have toxic fumes that are hurting people. The answer is no. And that has been demonstrated and will be officially demonstrated by the work group when it wants to come.
So what's the actual environmental impact of a fire besides the smoke? Is that something that a community would have to be evacuated, or people within a certain proximity would have to be evacuated?
No.
No burns, no explosions, or
There's not.
just burn?
It's hot, and that's why we implement, the safety. That's why it's, outside. You can't put these things inside. That's why it's outside. That's why they're surrounded by gravel, so you can't run away and go to other assets. So there's a lot of site design issues that go into, if that were the recommended procedure, or if that is the procedure that we follow, and we publish and come forward with a formal application plan. That's why, that's with an eye towards that may happen. We hope it doesn't, and a lot of, we're planning for it not to happen, but, we put safety measures.
I don't know, let me ask our attorney or our engineer, do we have any actual battery storage facilities in the town of Deerpark at present?
No control,
So if there is, there might be one that's connected to one of the existing solar arrays.
But not technically.
It's not like this where this is completely separate, eating
How
off
long
the
did
grid.
it burn for,
I think it was about a day and a half.
A day and a half, we burned?
A little less.
Do we actually have,
He would-
batteries storage verbiage in our comprehensive plan or anything?
No.
I know at one time, a couple of years ago, we had talked about the state came out with a